Okay, thank you, Dr. Liao. So we're a little bit behind the schedule. So next, as we said, one speaker was not feeling well, so he not coming here. So next, actually, so our ACAP, this Career Development Conference, the purpose is trying to help a different stage of in your career to pursue residency, to pursue become a doctor. So we have the honor to have the CAM's president, Dr. Victor Chang, and also Dr. Stephen Kan, they're from CAMS. So we would like to let them to introduce their program, because CAMS also have been very active helping the medical student or resident. They have a program, mentorship program as well. So thank you, Dr.
So I just want to thank ACAP for the opportunity for CAMS to work and support this conference. My name is Stephen Kai, and I've been part of the mentorship program at Chinese American Medical Society for the last 6-7 years. I'm one of the chairs there. We have a committee. Dr. Jorge Khan is one of our committee members. And when Dr. Zhu invited us to participate, I thought, why don't we work with wonderful physicians from ACAP? The common theme that you all heard today was about mentorship. And I cannot tell you how important that is for international medical grads or current medical grads from the United States. So I feel like there's so much for me to be able to offer a lot of the international medical grads as well. And I really appreciate the opportunity. Without further ado, one of my mentors and one of our current CAMS president, Dr. Victor Chang, is here. One of our past president, Dr. Mary Wong, is here. And she's been a wonderful supporter of medical students to try to get you on that journey to your goals. So without further ado, Dr. Chang.
So thank you to ACAP for this opportunity to briefly speak about our programs. Now, I myself am more of the academic type, professor of medicine at Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School, and have worked at the Veterans Affairs Hospital, a different practice setting, New Jersey. So at the Chinese American Medical Society, which is celebrating its 60th year anniversary this year, you have a number of programs where we try to again foster the growth of medical students and our members. Many of them are also members of ACAP. We have a Dr. Stephen Kai has been sponsoring and organizing also a career day with medical students. Most recently, in cooperation with the PAMSA, the Asian Pacific American Medical Students Association. We have on for our members who have finished medical school and have continued on into residency. And in practice, we have a number of activities, including a number of research activities, including a journal club. We have a scientific seminars emphasizing research done on Chinese Americans that has appeared. We have developed a leadership conversation seminar run by Dr. Cynthia Penn and Dr. James Tsai. We have a wellness committee, and most importantly, we have a scientific meeting in November with a gala where again we invite speakers to come. So these are all ways that you can again increase your development and interact with members and learn from them and get some really informal real life advice on what different career paths might actually mean for you. In addition to that, as Dr. Jian was pointing out, you have the hype and the buzzwords, and you have the real life situation, and you can decide what kind of trade-offs you think is something that you would like to see in your career. So thank you. I hope we can see you at our activities, and also would be delighted to work with ACAP in the future jointly on different activities.
Thank you, Dr. Chang. So our next section actually is a panel discussion. We try to make it more interactive and not very formal. So we have our speaker in the morning, Dr. George Kang, Dr. Steve Kang, and Victor Chan, and Dr. Jin Lee, and myself, Dr. Liao as well. So if you have any question, we can just ask and discuss about the question. And in about 10 minutes, we can grab the lunch and we have a lunch talk and talk about London. Any question you want to discuss, you want to ask from the morning section, any question for the residency application, your fellowship? Actually, we have a fellowship application talk in the afternoon because Dr. Xu is not feeling well. He was planning to talk about the cardiology fellowship and versus hospitalist. So, but in the afternoon, we're going to discuss about the GI fellowship application. Okay, questions you want to ask? Yeah, sure. Online, actually, in the morning, we have like more than 80 participants in the morning because many of the participants may be from China and already midnight. So, I don't know how many now. So actually, this is a very good opportunity because I graduated from China, and then before I got residency, I came to this conference. That was in Russian hospital. Actually, that was almost 10 years ago. And ACAP organized this career development. So I don't know, when I was at USME, I even don't know what the hospital is because it's not exist in China. So we just, we know we work in hospital. But here, hospital is the 7 on, 7 off. This is before residency. I don't know that. And also, when I try to get residency, the first year, of course, everybody want to go to fellowship. Everybody was thinking about the cardiology GI fellowship. But after a few years, maybe you're going to change your mind. Maybe as Dr. Xu discussed the private practice, you may think about private practice a different way and the group practice. Or don't be shy. Okay, yeah, just stand up and talk and ask all these attendees that can answer your question.
Okay, so thank you for this conference. And so as a high school student in the theory system, are there any like suggestions for me who want to like stick for a future in the medical school?
Very good. High school student. I wish I have this opportunity when I was in high school. I don't know nothing about medical school. Just my mom said, okay, you probably doctor is a good career. You go to medical school. That's it. I don't know anything. So that I want to share.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, I want to applaud you for your bravery. You know, you're the only high school student that is willing to ask that question. And, you know, we have doctors here, we have trainees, we have medical students, and you're the one who stood up. So that is a great start. We do need folks like you who are able to voice, especially Asian American folks, young folks that are willing to go and spearhead this mission of bringing great quality care to our community. So with that, I applaud you. So things that you can do at the high school level is, you know, I'm not going to tell you about listening to your parents, okay? Because we are now high school kids. And the fact that you are interested in medicine at an early stage, I can share you a little bit about my story as a high school student that I shared with Dr. Zhu. He's currently ACAP mentor person for the ACAP scholarship or their research. And I really enjoyed talking to him because, you know, he is devoted into high school students and about research. And that's how I became a doctor. And that is something I want to share with you. I met my mentor in surgery. I'm a breast cancer surgeon now. But I met my mentor in my high school years. I tagged along and did a research project, just like Dr. Xu mentioned. Be into publications, get yourself published, get yourself into meaningful things. But that mentorship really continued to flourish after my high school years. So I spent 1 year, 1 summer working with him. I continued to keep that relationship with this mentor. And throughout my college, do well in school, that is natural. That is part of our, you know, playbook, like you can say. But keep that mentorship. I cannot emphasize how important mentorship it is to get us to that next level, because it is really what Dr. Khan shared with you in terms of getting, you know, the grades and everything that gets you to the door. but that one phone call from your mentor, that one personal letter is going to get you a long, long way. So till this day, I still talk to my mentor. Till this day, I still, pick up the phone or text them. And it is really, really, really important. And that has been a really crucial part. So find your mentors early. If you identify them, really continue to work with them so that you can go on that path. Okay. And it may not be that path. Sometimes I say it may be too early. Maybe along your college years, you'll find something else. And I did. I thought I was going to be a microbiologist. I thought I was going to be an infectious disease doctor. But little did I know that thing that he cultivated when I was a high school student, when I was in the operating room and seeing all these laparoscopic surgery, fancy stuff back then, really flourished and really made me become who I am now. Okay. So I really want to thank you for that question.
Thank you. Oh, okay, yeah, the standard.
Thank you very much. I have a question about like what are your insights on like research to go into community hospital? So like when we apply, it's going to be a context that people would think. I did my PhD. I finished my also I did some years of postdoc. So, like people would think you are best fit for the course of academic university content. But those hospitals, they are competing with local U.S. like medical students, like they may also have like PhD programs like a degree, and they are like very good. And like, but we also want to take the opportunity to apply for these community hospitals in the future. We might want to go to fellowship programs. So it's like it was like big university hospitals. There are a lot of them have competitors. Like community hospitals, they will think, oh, you guys are not interested in our like family medicine, like our like there's always a conflicts between like university, like in academia, and also like when we apply for community hospital, they would think you're not the best fit. Like what are insights on this? Do you have any?
Okay, Dr. Kang, thank you.
I'll have my shot at that complicated question. So I think most programs will try to hire what they think is the best doctor that they can train. And people realize that the research, if you're in medicine, that the type of research that you do will vary, across your career. Some people get a master's or a PhD before getting into medical school. Some people do that in order to get into medical school, right? And some people in the university would work at a lab, and then that gets you into, into the residency or fellowship of your choice. But it doesn't mean that your career will be based on the type of research that you did on your lab, right? When you have a PhD, then maybe that's a little bit different. You're an expert in your own field, probably. Nobody knows more than your research, than your dissertation project. But you may not end up having like a research career in basic science. You may be more clinical, and I think people realize that. So my feeling is that there's a spectrum, obviously, in how academic and community and somewhere in between and the type of research that the institutions do. But people do realize that even though you have a PhD, you may be here for the clinical training period, right? So I don't think that disqualifies you for the majority of these, so-called community programs. And they may look at it favorably because, like, even if your main objective in the world, as a program is not, to train the research part, like the Ivy Leagues maybe are, right? But I mean, it's still a requirement for ACHME to maintain accreditation for every single program. So you may be an asset for a program in that aspect, anyways.
Follow up with that question. Do you think what are your suggestions to prepare for this residency application, like for us, for applicants like who has now research experience, but maybe have more year variation, or like, you know, PhD is gonna be 5 years and postdoc is probably 2, 3, 4 years. So it's probably gonna be a long year variation. So, but you know, like when we do before we apply, we gonna do a lot of rotations, but most of them will be no hands-on. It will be like observership or like but just like Dr. Yu asked some question online, it's gonna be commercial, like hands-on clinical experience. What are your suggestions in regard to get ourselves prepared for this residency application? Because we have already seen like research publications, you don't worry about that. You know, clinical experience, like from a point of view, like a program director, what you think are important to get ourselves prepared.
I think that the trajectory that you have taken after your medical school graduation is probably what people will look at. So if you're finished your medical school and then you're full-time doing research, pursuing a PhD, people will see that as a continuation, hopefully, as of your professional development, and not as a gap that you finished medical school and it's been 5 years, right? But I mean, it all depends on who's looking at your application. I'll give an example of one of our current residents. So he finished surgical training, not just medical school, at a foreign country, and then he was a research fellow where he didn't touch a patient. He didn't have privileges to do that for 7 years at 2 different institutions. Then he goes on an international trip with our former chairman. And then my chairman says, this guy can still operate. He hasn't operated in 7 years. We're able to do, like thyroid surgeries together. To make the story short, he's one of our current residents. He's doing very well, right? So there are things that you don't forget. And if you have that trajectory and if you have that, in mind, and if you're thinking of the academic trajectory and you have a PhD, I think that's all I'm asking.
Thank you. Just to share a little bit about my story. I also did many years of research, like many CMG. So I matched into a community program in Brookdale in New York. And I think my experience for the research and the publication, which really helped me during residency training, and I was able to participate in some quality improvement project, as well as we published several case reports during residency training, which helped me if I want to apply for a fellowship, but I choose not. So it's a plus for your training.
And also, I would like to share my own experience.
I think like most of the CMG Chinese medical graduates, they came to US. Actually, they already have PhD. They did a lot of research work, postdocs training. My personal experience is, you do have to, find out which program value the candidate like you. It's not like all community programs, they welcome the people who do lots of research, not necessarily, but you do need to spend time to dig out. There's some programs, they do value, people have research background because they value the future fellowship placement. I guarantee you can get very excellent, even